So we talked about how lead generation and cost per lead is just a small fraction of the equation. Let's get a little bit past that towards lead conversion. Tell us about how your organization has been able to increase your lead conversion numbers.
Yeah, so first you need to get beyond lead gen and you need to focus on business gen.
Okay.
Because if you're just focused on lead gen, you generate a lead, well, that's a debit. It's an expense. You need to convert that lead into an opportunity, into a closing business in order for you to make any money, like credit.
Okay.
So you get the lead, now it's a matter of what you do with it. And now it's a matter of, again, optimizing every possible lever in that process, so at the end result, you're converting as many opportunities, as many high quality opportunities as possible. One of the ways we've done that is through effectively utilizing the dialers that are native and integrated with the CRM platform. So to give you one example, a big ISA team, how do you optimize the value of their time? If they have an hour to make calls, how many calls can they make? How many conversations can they have? And how much time are they wasting doing things that they don't need to do? Again, our end result is to make contact.
Sure.
Our desired end result is either speak with them or leave a voicemail. All the other things that go into the process of that end result, if we can automate them, no problem. So if you look at the time to make 50 dials.
Okay.
50 dials, let's say they spend 4 seconds dialing, 10 seconds for it ringing, and then 15 seconds to leave a voicemail.
Okay.
And you add up all that time. Then you talk, let's say 5% of those 50 calls answer, and they're gonna talk to them for 3 minutes on average.
Okay.
So on those parameters, normally it would take about 34 minutes for them to do all that and to have those, 5% of the 50?
2.5 conversations.
Yeah, 2.5 conversations. We're doing that in less than 9 minutes now, because Chime Dialer automates the dial, automates leaving the voicemail. So the only thing that our ISAs are doing are using Chime's filters, using Chime's smart call list to create different call lists based upon different parameters, and then pressing start. And the system works for itself. So fundamentally, they're sitting there and they're having the 2.5 conversations and not wasting the other 24 minutes doing the dial, leaving the same voicemail over and over again. It's like that movie, Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
Where Will Smith, refuses to put the phone down so he can just dial the next phone. And those few seconds add up over and over again. It's like this, but on steroids.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to mention how mundane a lot of that activity is. It can kind of bring you to this state of mental grogginess, whereas in 9 minutes, your ISAs are alert the entire time and having proper conversations that are leading to appointments that are leading to agreements. So
they're fresher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
when you're dealing with a large database, how are you going to touch all those leads? And if you can accelerate the rate at which you can contact those leads, so if in a legacy way, if you're able to call 50 people a day, well, now you're able to, in the same time frame, contact 100. Well, you're going to work through your database twice as fast. You're going to have that higher level of contact. You're going to be front of mind on a more frequent basis. All these little things have massive implications on that end result. And too often people are just focused on the CPL and they miss every other lever coming after that. And so they spent congrats, you got a lead for $2. Even if it's a good lead, you're not focused on everything else to get it converted. So even though you only spent $2, you lost $2 because that opportunity went elsewhere.
Imagine that, you have $2 cost per lead and you have inefficient dialing practices. The burden of that lead follow-up is going to be too difficult to actually see a return on investment. Now, with Chime, one of our flagship products, something that I'm very proud of, is our AI assistant. So talk to us a little bit about how the AI assistant dynamic works in with the ISA team and the smart plan setup.
Yeah. So if you're building an ISA team, especially if you only have a couple ISAs, one of your pain points is coverage of hours. Because ideally you want to have someone on coverage 7 days a week during the working hours. And that's hard to do. Most people don't work weekends. So how do you structure it? How do you overlay those weeks? How do you overlay the hours so that you have that ideal level of coverage? The AI assistant will help you, because we have our AI assistant to cover off hours. So our AI assistant's going to kick in after 6:30, and it's going to cover off hours, when people engage, when people come back to the website, when people leave an inquiry, the AI assistant will engage. Last month, just in Maryland alone, they converted 11 opportunities just in off-hour engagement.
Wow.
So that's 11 appointments converted through the AI assistant.
11 appointments where there would have been no one there to work that lead.
Correct. So even though we have a large ISA team, inherently no one's working at 9 p.m., 11 p.m. And so you cannot control when someone has time to come to your website. What if they're a nurse? What if they're a doctor working the night shift, or vice versa? Like they get off early, they want to pop on the website, and it's like 4 a.m. You can't control when they have time to search for properties when they come to your website. So the AI assistant is there during those situations for us. And of course, we could apply it in different ways, but for right now, that's what's best used for us to capture those opportunities. And like I said, there was 11 in Maryland alone in the last month.
That's a phenomenal ROI. I mean, that's tough to beat.
Especially if they had never been captured. You know, we didn't have someone there. They came to our website, the AI assistant engaged, popped up in the chat box and said, "How may I help you?" And they said, "I'm looking for this. Can you help me find this?" So now our ISAs have more information to engage upon, and then when they get to the office at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., depending on the ISA, they're there to hit the ground running.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Well, Robert, thank you so much for coming all the way out here to Phoenix today. I really appreciate it. You've been a wealth of knowledge. Seeing y'all's transition and the increase that has come with your business has just been a phenomenal experience for us, and we're really excited to have you on as a client.
Well, thanks for having me. We're equally excited to be in business with you guys. We're having incredible results from using your platform, and I'm really happy we found you guys. So thanks for having me out.
Oh, my pleasure.